All right, I just have a really quick video here about narrative structure, or how we tell stories. Narratives are everywhere. They appear throughout media and in society, in the novels we read, the plays we watch, the comic books we see, television shows, and even a lot of commercials will have narratives. Here's some food for thought. Narrative imagining, or story, is the fundamental instrument of thought. It is what fuels human beings as we go throughout our day. Here's another quote. Narrative cognition is thought to represent the default mode of human thought, providing structure to reality and serving as the underlying foundation for memory. The way we perceive and understand the world is through stories. Narrative events occur in space and time. So when you are writing a narrative, you want to make sure the events do not unfold randomly. It's really important that the cause and effect relationship between those events is clear. So the logic of cause and effect ties together character traits, goals, obstacles, and actions. Make sure the points in your plot can fit therefore or but in between them. This is a technique I first heard of when I watched a video about the South Park authors talking about their writer's room. I'm going to place a card up in the top of the video for that video if you're interested further about this technique. But make sure that the events in your plot don't have and then between them. If you go between each plot point and then this happened and then this happened, your story ends up being pretty boring and ends up confusing your readers more than it needs to. So, narrative structure. So, here's the chronological or typical narrative structure. So, you start with the exposition, where we meet the characters, establish the setting, and set the tone/norm. Then you have the rising action. So, here's where you introduce the central conflict. So, what's the main event that's going to happen in the story? Or what is the tension between characters? Then at the top of the narrative structure, we have the climax. So this is the turning point or the highest point of conflict. Following the climax, we have the falling action, which is the aftermath or the effect of the climax. And then at the very end of the story, we have the denouement or the resolution. So this establishes the new normal, whatever that is. In the personal narrative, which is just one of the many forms of narrative, you are going to write, you as the writer are going to relate one event, incident, or experience from your life. This allows you to share your lives with others, experiencing the things you describe. You should try to put the reader in the midst of the action, so letting them live through the event or experience the way that you experienced it. In addition, you should try to incorporate vivid descriptive details, as well as the thoughts, feelings, and reactions that you had as you experienced this. Often, a personal narrative will create a dramatic effect, making us laugh, giving us fright, or getting us on the edge of our seat. So sometimes the writers will embellish or use hyperbole to illustrate a point or for dramatic effect. So, for instance, if you're writing about something that happened 2 years ago in your personal narrative and you don't remember every single little detail, you could embellish or add some things that might be close to the truth but are not exact. This would be a great way to use that embellish technique to illustrate a point.